Okay. Uh, so let's begin with the word of God. Thank you, Father God, for this blessed and beautiful morning that you have given for us. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for helping us in every way possible, oh Father. Thank you for keeping us safe and bringing us back here yet another morning and evening to praise you, to worship you, to give glory to you. And Lord, thank you for everything that you've done for us in the past days. Thank you for all your protection, oh Father. So we come before you, giving this time into your hands, and we ask you, Lord, that you will help us to learn something new as well as to share with others. Father God, we commit everything into your hands. We pray and ask that you will be with each one of us here, Father. We ask everything in your precious name, Lord. Amen. Okay. So I'll go through the uh, materials with you. And today it's going to be very, very simple, but I just wanted to show you how you can draw colors, painting with the bold colors and with simple strokes here. For the sunflower, all we need is um, you can take a 8 by 10 panel or any panel that you have or any acrylic sheet that you have. You can use them. So I'm using an 8 by 10. 8 by 10 panel here, and I've done an outline of my outline of the sunflower so that everybody can see it, because some of them may find it very difficult to do freehand or just to put the paint onto the panel. So I've done it on a black background because the colors look more brighter in a black background for the flower. So that's where I've used the black canvas. All I did was put the black gesso on top of it. It's a black paint. So just put it on top of your canvas and let it dry completely. Now, if you don't have, if you're not having any black, panel, or if you don't have that color to put in, no worries at all. Use the white panel, and all you have to do is make sure if you want to give the background, you can give it later. So not an issue at all. And for the colors that we are using here is either you could have a very, kind of, you have these two kinds of yellow, the medium yellow and deep yellow. You can mix this both together or use any one of these yellows. So whichever your palette is bringing in, you can use that yellow. No worries at all. Even lemon yellow is also good. No harm in that. Then we have orange. So we'll mix a little bit of orange to yellow that we're using in. So the color becomes a little shady and looks like a shadowy petals behind as well. Then for the center, we would be using black for the seeds, brown, okay, and then green. So that's what we will be using for the center itself. And the brushes that we are going to use would be, I can use a round brush for the petals. I can use a flat brush as well. This is a flat brush. So I can use this kind of a square flat brush also. It will come out very well. So I just wanted to show you that, you can use any of those brushes. You can use a filbert as well. Okay. Any of these brushes you have, you can use them. Okay. You can use any of these brush, and these are the brushes that we would be using mostly here, like for this. So hence, no need for all the other brushes here. Then we have the ceramic plate. So it's more easier and better than a foam plate. So yeah. And then 2 cups of water in a container, like one for washing up all your brushes and one to use for the painting itself. Have a washcloth or a napkin, whichever you have, you can use them. Okay, so that you can dry your brushes and your brushes are in good conditions. Um, Otherwise, I think we are good with our painting to begin here. And so for that, we go with the yellow first. So you can use yellow directly from the tube, or you can put it into your into the into your ceramic plate and use it. Okay, so I'm just using it in my ceramic plate here. So this is my yellow, which I'm using it here, and I'm gonna use the the square brush. Okay, so I'll show you. What you're going to do is making sure you're going from down to up. So you're actually creating that beautiful stroke like going from down to up. Okay. And if you're using a black canvas and if the black is seen so much, don't worry, we will be doing a second layer, so that should be coming out well. Okay, so make sure that you do the uh, petals going up, going from down, take it up and take it till up. And if you have the outline given, just go with your outline, because for some of them it will not be coming in straight from the, like you will not be able to do it directly on the panel, so it's okay. Okay, and all we are trying to do is do the petals here, the first layer, if you see, and I'm giving it like with a stroke itself so that it can give that beautiful uh, petal formation. Okay, and if you're using, as I said, if you're using a black background, you might feel that it's kind of black is being seen. No worries at all, we will cover that up. So make sure you give the first layer. Okay, so I'm trying to do it for all my petals here. And every petal is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. And when you're putting in lots of color, it will come out bright. So don't worry. And we can give in more paints wherever you find it to be very light, because anyways, we need to cover this whole uh, petals with the yellow. I'm just going to lift my board up. Okay. So at least you should have a first layer of paints that's gone in, which will look like this. Okay. So now when you have this first layer, I want to make sure it is a little more bright because yellow is the main part of the colors here. So the sunflower looks very bright and beautiful. So make sure you have a beautiful yellow petals. And go from down to up if you can, and then give a nice good stroke going up. And when the paint is dried, you can actually do it on top of that. It becomes beautiful. And you're giving strokes very well. Okay. So make sure you do the beautiful yellow petals, like make sure your strokes are going from down to up and it is covering up that entire area. You need to add a little bit of water, then you can go ahead and do it. All I want is to make sure that it is not being too, uh, it's not kind of seen bad. And I'm just going to use, um, let me see how the other yellow comes by. Oh, that is also good. So you can use deep yellow as well as the normal medium yellow, which I showed you. So make sure if you can do the strokes from down to up and then pull the paint up. Okay. So that there is not much of black that's seen in the background. So make sure that you're able to kind of cover the petals beautifully with the yellow. And as it dries, you will be able to see that you're able to move it faster and it becomes beautiful as well. And I'm using the flat brush here. It comes out well. Okay. So I see that it's the first layer of yellow is really looking good. And I'm just going to make sure that, you know, I'm doing it because as the paint dries, I can see the difference. And that's where I'm trying to do this. But if your colors are really good, it's bright, it's nice. So don't do anything much there then. And giving that black shade into the petal itself looks nice when you finish it because it gives you the shadowy part also. Okay. So you should have got this first layer of colors gone in. And now to this yellow itself, if you can just add a little bit of orange, I'll show you what I'm trying to say here. See here, because we need to put some, orangish petals here. So we're trying to see how best can we use that. And if you use just direct orange, it's not gonna look great. If you mix it with the yellow, it looks nice. And as the paint dries, if you're seeing so much of black, please make sure that you have that, the beautiful yellow that is seen. If it can see dark, then make sure that you can darken that. Okay. Because for me, it's a background is darker background, so I'm able to see that well. For a white background, you may not be able to see that. Okay. So wherever I'm just putting it wherever I see that, if I can see the black. Okay, so that's good. So now with this orange and yellow, I'm just gonna mix it together. And make sure that you have, and in between those petals, if you can do this, Okay. So again, pull it up from down. Don't give any whites, the space in between. The space should be covered up. Okay. This is a very quick and easy flower, guys. You can finish it very fast and it gets dried up very, very fast. Make sure there is no gap in between, like you're covering up with that beautiful orange. Okay. So, and if the color is going dull in your black background, make sure you make it a little bit more brighter. Because in white background, you may not be able to see that much, but in black background, you will be able to see that the color is like, it doesn't show well. Okay, or now you have the back petals. All you're going to do is with that yellow and orange, you're going to do this. Okay, so make sure that again, this one is bright and not too palish color. And I'm using a flat brush to do it. You can use it with a round brush as well. Okay, just behind. And don't worry, we will give in more shades towards it, but this is the first layer that we have to put it in. So we are just using that. It's just orange and yellow. Okay, so here goes your sunflower. You're giving the shade yellow and orange. And this is very simple, not so difficult. You can do it directly or with the paint itself. I've given it with the what do you say? With a sketch, because for some it may be difficult. Okay. And we will be coloring it, like we will be shading it inside, so no worries. And all I want you to do is make sure that you have that orange yellow being given. Okay. So the first layer of yellow and orange have been gone in. And now when you keep it down, if you see that it is not bright enough, so make sure that you add more of yellow and orange and mix it with the yellow because it looks nice. It gives you that proper shade of what you're looking for. So I'm just going to use a little bit more here because I can see that. Okay. Wherever that you find that the paint is less or it looks pale in color, make sure that you make it bright. Okay. And what paint you have in your brush, please try to use that completely. And then it really becomes beautiful. Don't worry. It will take its shade and color soon. But give it in the same stroke, either up or down. Don't go like, zigzag way or anything, because a flower petals doesn't look like that. Okay. Okay, so you should be having the first layer like this. Okay, the sunflower, it should come out. And if you have more, uh, like if it looks really not filled up, then you can always fill it up. Okay, so you can always fill it up. There it goes. So the first layer of the colors have been put in. Now, if you see that in the petals itself, now we need to finish up with that bit of orange, but then it's not too much there. So you take the yellow and make sure that you work it around so that it becomes a nice dark yellow, but then there is orangish shade that goes in like this. See, I did the same. I just used the same yellow and orange which I had, but I used a little bit more of yellow into it. And so what happens? The color becomes more brighter. And then there is that, you're actually giving a shape towards that petal. Okay. And make sure that you finish up that borders also close by with the same color so that it doesn't look like the yellow is standing out or something. And it's with that yellow and orange that you're doing it. Because when you see a sunflower, you can see that the petals are like yellowish in color, but then it has that orangish tint also. Okay. So wherever you see that the yellow is not bright, or you find that there's a place that you can add and shade it up, go ahead and do it. Okay. And don't forget you're doing for all the petals. Okay. And it's like, go with the shading, like, go with the one format, like either up or down or down to up. Don't go in zigzag manner, because that's not gonna be helpful here. You will be just doing it worse. Okay. And for me, I'm trying to take off my black, which has been seen. So make sure that your black is, like, if you're using a black background, the black is not being visibly seen. And make sure that your borders, like, if you've given the petal with that first layer and the first layer looks pale, so make sure that you give it a little bit dark. Okay. And go in that ends with a beautiful yellowish orange hint. So it looks nice. It's very simple to do paintings, guys. It's like how you imagine and what you want to bring into those colors, you can actually bring it in. It's not difficult. All you need is that little bit of concentration and to make sure that, you focus yourself to do it. Okay, I'm just making my petals bright so that the orange is still there, but it is more beautiful with that yellow that has been given to it. So you can see that orangish hue in the background, but there is that yellow as well. Okay. Make sure that you give your yellow nice and bright because, as I said, the black background, you need to bring that colors out very well. And you can bring it. Okay. And do for every petal, don't forget any petals. All your petals are important. Okay. And with that, make sure that you give that yellow tint. That yellow tint is seen with that orange. Because the shadow is good and you make it more brighter with the yellow. Okay, so somewhat similar, you should be having your sunflower here. And when you have like this, so your orange as well as your yellow is seen well. Okay, now we go into the behind colors. So again, there also, you're gonna add in little bit of that yellow tint so that it looks beautiful. Because there's already the orange background there. So all you're going to do is make sure that it is bright enough with the yellow. Okay, I hope you're able to see my this painting here. Okay, now wherever you see that the black is seen, then make sure that you kind of cover it up with that base colors and use yellow to give that shades proper shades. It comes out well, guys. And use with that orange. So I'm using the same brush. I haven't changed the brush yet. All same brushes. Making sure all my petals are covered up. Okay, which is very important. So there is a difference between every petal that you see here. If you don't find it, make sure you use your yellow and make it distinct. Okay, I'm showing you as I'm going itself so that you also see the difference in your painting. Okay, so it's important that you create that tone texture within what you're doing itself. So don't forget that. And my orange, use of yellow. So it gives you, it makes it more beautiful. And you don't have to do so much in your petals. All you're doing is making sure the strokes are proper. Okay. I'm just lifting it up a little bit for you to see. Okay. And then make sure this petal also gets covered up. Every petals, wherever you've put in your colors, make sure every petal is getting that shades. Okay. I hope everybody is able to follow. Okay. So now the first layer is done, the second layer is done. And wherever, if you see that the yellow is not coming up so much bright as what you wanted, then make sure that you give that as well. Don't forget it, because sunflowers are yellow in color, but it has the tint of orange, and you're making sure you make it bright and beautiful. And as the colors are drying up, if you start giving on top of it a shade and making sure if you can do it like this. So what happens is like it gives you that petalish look, if I may say that. And it looks beautiful. Like, you're actually kind of giving that tones here. And I'm trying to put that, in places where I can still see black. Okay. So it's not just orange, it's not just yellow, but it's got that just a mix of it, and it makes it beautiful. And make sure the places wherever you see so much of orange, there is that yellow also in. So I'm trying to put in more of yellow into this picture. Okay. So basically, you are good with the petals if you've followed through in the same way. And if you find that you want to give a little bit of orange in between your colors, in between your yellow to make it a little brighter, you can do it. Okay. But if it is too dark, then make sure that you have the yellow going in. If it is not, then it is good. And pull it from down, please. And if you're doing it before the paint dries, then you can get that shades also in well. Okay. And with that little bit of orange that is there in your palette itself, all you're going to do is just to make sure that you put in the center, because we're going to put so many other colors as well. But I'm just going to cover up this brown area with this color. Okay. Either you can use a brown, or you could use what is there in your brush itself. And go like this so that you can give some dents and, make some bumps around.
Nisha, what colors did you mix up?
That same orange and yellow.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't use any other colors. I'm just taking it off from the brush. I'm not putting any new colors here. In my brush, I had the colors. I'm using that colors here.
Okay.
Yeah. So you should be getting this kind of a background. Okay. And to that, what you're going to use is you're going to use a brown. So this is the brown that I'm going to use. Little bit of brown and go. and I've not yet washed my brush or cleaned my brush or done anything to it, use the same brushes because you get different tones from that. Okay. So you should be getting that center, which is going to come out beautifully now. So you've given the first layer of browns there. It looks good. Like, because in the center, you actually don't see much because of the seeds and black and yellows, and it's not so much of seen, right? Like what's happening in there. All I'm trying to do is not make sure that the colors are filling up all those spaces and not making it like, you don't have any white spaces there. Okay. So that's what you've done. That's with your brown that you've done. And now I'm going to make sure that I'm going to take off that paint from the brush. Make sure that you clean up your brush well. And if your flowers are looking dull or anything, we can always give colors later. Don't worry. Okay. Because for me, I always find it like when the paints are dried up, I can add in more because then I can see the color difference there. The choices are different. Okay. Now I want you to take a little bit of yellow. So I'm using just a filbert brush. If you have a round brush, you can use the round brush as well. So with the filbert, or if you have Q-tips, you can use Q-tips as well. All you're going to do is just to put some like this. You know how the seeds look like? So that's what you're trying to give that shape here. So with the Q-tip or with your brush itself, you can do this. No, you don't have to need so many other things that you have to work on with. Okay. So I'm just using my filbert here and giving that seed look here in the center. Okay. Go ahead, put that yellow dots. And you don't have to cover up every space. You are just trying to make sure that there is some yellow dots. In between, go with orange also. Okay, the one which you had already in your foam plate or in your plate. Okay, just in betweens, not everywhere. Wherever you can kind of do that, go ahead and do it. So what happens, this gives you a beautiful look like the sunflower seeds. Okay, we are trying to get that look there, so don't worry, it will come in. Okay. So just in the center towards the side of the petals where it is coming up, you can do that. So it looks right, nice and round, and in a way, it looks like the center of the seeds itself. And given as much as you want, so that to make it beautiful. Okay, this should be good. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of black, because in the center you have that black seeds coming up, and you have to have some light green as well. I'll show you what I'm trying to say here. Take the light green, and I'll show you how I'm going to put it into my foam plate. So I'm using the same brush. It's here, the green and the black. Go with the black. See, what I'm trying to do is just give that, don't push it too hard. But as you did the dots, go ahead and do the dots with the black. And since your paint is wet, you would be able to see how it is mixing up. So black, you don't have to use too much. Even if you take a little bit into your brush, it will come out beautifully in your uh, panel. The canvas, it will come out well. So use up all the black that's there in the brush and go in the places where you have to go in. See? And that's what we're trying to give that beautiful look. And in between your greens, take your green with the same brush. I'm not using any other brush here. So when you mix it with the green and the black there, you can see that little bit of greens in between coming out well. And I'm doing it only in the center part of that with the green. Okay. I'm just dabbing it like this so that, you know, you can get that big holes, big kind of a look there. Don't worry if your paint is going somewhere else, or you know, if that if you, for example, your petal is completely not seen, or color, or you know, it's not visibly seen properly. Don't worry, you will get it. Okay, so make sure in between your colors you go very light, that with the black, so that it's into the petals. Okay, and go with little bit of yellows here and there if the black is too dark, so that we give that textures beautiful. Okay, and green, because in the center what happens, there is lots of things that's happening which we are not able to see. All we're trying to get in is that kind of a pictures, that kind of a look here. Hello, is everybody able to see me? I hope so. Okay. Are you all able to see me? Can someone here say whether if you're able to see the panel?
Yeah, Nisha.
Okay, good. I don't know what happened to my other connection. My computer just switched off. So I'm not able to see myself there, but hopefully if you're able to see me here, it's good. Okay. So make sure your center is looking good with your seeds. Okay. So this one, when you're kind of putting it in, make sure your seeds are all looking nice. Like in the center, there is lots of activities going on. That's what we're trying to bring in here. Okay. And it is bright and nice. If you have too much of colors anywhere, make sure that the black goes in well. Okay, so from afar, if you see that there is activities that's going in the center, and it makes it look more beautiful. I'm kind of happy with my center, which has come out well. And if you have paints in your brushes, yeah, in the brush, so go ahead and do it. Okay. Okay. So I think my center looks better off. It's okay. Do with your black dots. Don't paint it, but use like a dotted. Go give dots. Okay. And as you're giving dots, and if you see that the colors, like there is some colors that is not coming out bright, because when it dries up, then you will see how the colors are coming out. So I'm going to use a little bit of yellow and orange into my petals now, because in the center, now I just wanted to dry a little bit to see how the center is going to come out. So while that is happening, I just want to make sure that I'm going to wash my brush off so that it's clean and neat. And I'm going to go work on my petals with a little bit of yellow, because I find it to be a little dull at times there. So let's see how best we can make the flower shine upon. So you do it only in places where you find it to be very dull. Okay. I find the places where my picture looks dull. I'm just kind of going over that. So I want you to make sure that you do the same, like in your painting, because now the paint is dried. You should be able to see where you can give some highlights. And that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. And with your orange background, if make sure it is still there. It's not kind of it's not there or anything. It is there. All I am trying to do is, because of my black background, I'm just making it a little bit more brighter here. And we will be almost done. So in this particular painting, you used only few strokes, but with that stroke itself, you're able to create a painting, like, for the flowers, because in flowers, we use only very less of the strokes. So I am making it more bright because it looks very dull for me in my uh, in my painting. Make sure what you're doing is good for your painting. Don't do just because I'm doing it, because it's for my painting. It looks very dull. I'm doing it for you. If it is bright enough, then don't do it, because all you need is a bright yellow with the mix of orange for your petals, and that look should have come in. Okay. So yeah, make sure that you do that. If you don't have it, then do what I'm doing, like just highlighting in places where it brings out that color. Because sunflower is yellow in color, and we are trying to bring that beautiful shade out. And give it in a stroke manner, not in just. So when I'm moving the strokes up and down, it becomes more beautiful. So some petals can be a little more darker, some petals can be light. Again, it's your wish, and whatever that you're doing is beautiful, guys. Always remember, Your piece is masterpiece. Nobody can take credit for that. And you're doing it well. Okay. So if you see, you're making sure there is defined petals. And if you see now, the black is also becoming very clear and nice. Okay, wherever I see that there is yellow can be added in, I'm just adding in those yellows. And it's very easy, guys. It's not difficult. Okay. Because when the paint dries, then you can see the difference between those petals. Till then, you feel like, oh, that's nothing happening, but there is so many things that's happening within those colors. And if it is too dark, you can always lighten it. Okay. So I think this looks nice. I don't have to work so much more into it. And if you see, it's a very simple painting. I didn't do much at all. All I did was like making sure that I put the colors that is needed in very simple strokes. Okay. And make sure that you use for every petal, whatever you have here. Don't miss any petals out. Okay. So you should be having something similar to this. And in between, wherever you had earlier given that orange, if you want to give it a little bit to make it bright, you can do so. Because now when the paints have dried up, you can see that you can brighten it. Okay. So basically, the sunflower is good and nice. Unless you want to do something more with your colors, you can kind of do it. But otherwise, I think I'm kind of okay with my flower. It's beautiful. It's nice. At least for me, it is good. So as I said, it's your flower. Go ahead and do it, guys. Nobody's going to stop you from anything. Go ahead and do it. And if you find that there is a lot of yellow not being seen, so make sure that you bring that beautifully in your palette within your flowers. Okay. And so because you have to make sure that it's you who's giving the texture and tones, right? So how do you want to give it? Sometimes your perspective is better off, so do it. Okay. And for me, it's like whenever it's getting pale, I'm just trying to do that with more of my yellow. So that's it. I think this would be the easiest and the shortest painting that we've had. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me. And if your center looks very, it looks like, you can add some more black to bring that highlights in, you may do so. Okay. So I'm just gonna bring some dots in here and there, everywhere, just towards the outside portion. Okay. So just to bring that little bit of grainy texture on the outsides. Nothing more am I doing. I'm just doing that. Okay. So here's your sunflower, which is ready. And for me, it is good. I don't have to do anything much. All I have to do is make sure maybe in between the colors, if there's any dull moments there, I'm just trying to make sure those dull moments are taken off. That's it. Yeah. So sunflower is done, and I'm just gonna off the recording, and then you can ask me any questions that you have. And we will see next week with the new painting.